Hello friends, welcome once again to a step-by-step Python course for absolute beginners. In this course or in this video, we are going to discuss about for loop. So in the previous part of our videos, we discussed about list, tuple, set and dictionary. We we also saw how we can use for loop with list, tuple, set and dictionary. But in this section, we will discuss some more things that we can do with a for loop. A for loop is used for iterating over a sequence. So, for example, in previous examples, list, tuple, set, and dictionary were all sequence, and we iterated over those sequence using for loop. We will discuss another method in Python. This is a built-in method in Python. It is called range method, and range method can be used to create a sequence from a starting point to some end point. So we give a range with some limits. In this range there will be a starting limit and there will be a ending limit, and we will create a sequence, and then we will understand the use of for loop using the range sequence. We will also see example. For example, here we have a list, and in this list we are iterating over this list using for loop. Now let's get started with the code. So open your idle, and now first we will understand the range method here. As I said, range is used to create a range of sequence. A range is used to generate a range of sequence within a given limit. So for example, range, you can see here, start, stop, and then there are a step, or you can simply enter stop here. So we can use range with for loop. As the definition of for loop suggests, a for loop is used to execute a statement n number of times. So if we know how many times we have to execute a statement, we can use for loop, and this range can be used to generate those n number of sequences for us. So for example, for I in range, let's say 0 to 10, 0 to 10, print I. In case of range, we have set a starting limit, that is 0, start from 0 and go up to 10, but range will actually go up to n minus 1. So we will see that. So now you can see a sequence is generated here, and it starts from 0 and goes up to n minus 1. So whatever we will write here, it will go up to n minus 1 with steps of 1. So by default, steps are 1. If you are familiar with arithmetic progression in mathematics, so in case of arithmetic progression, a series is created, or arithmetic progression is a series which has some common difference between all the elements. So we can create a series of arithmetic progression also. So for I in range, let's say we want to start our range, we want to start a sequence from 1. We want to go up to 20, and in steps of 3. Now if you will, for I in range, sorry for the wrong syntax there. So start from 1, go to 20, and in steps of 3. Now you are inside your for loop. So you just have to write colon here and you will be in your for loop. Then you can provide indent. In case of idle, this indent will automatically be created for you. Now you can write print I. So you can see first element is 1, add step of 3 to it. 4, add 3, 7, 10, 13, 16, and up to n minus 1. So next thing is, using this range function, we can create list also. So let's say ml is equal to list. You can write range, and you can write this same thing here, 123, or you can give another sequence. So now if you will print ml, a list will be created, and this list will have these elements. Now next thing is, we can iterate over this list for I in ml. Remember, this I is any imaginary variable. So for x in ml, we can type x also, but remember you have to write print x here. So now this range will be created, and you will see you can iterate over list, you can iterate over tuple, dictionary, set. We have already demonstrated the methods in dictionary, in which, for example, a method called keys generate a list of keys, a method called items generate a list of tuple where we have key and value pairs. So go to that video of dictionary, you will see the methods, and then you can see the use of for loop there also. So now let's do some example here. Let's do some example of for loop. Let's try to print a table of any number using for loop. So in the next example, I will show you how you can take input from user, and you can print a table using for loop. But I am going to show the concept here. So for example, for I in range, let's say 1 to 11, because we want to print, let's say we want to print table of 4 here. So 4 ones are 4, 4 twos are 8, and we want to print something like that. So print, so let's write a string 4 multiplied by 1 is equal to, and then you can write 4 multiplied by I. So when this loop will be executed, this I will be first 1. So 4 into 1 is equal to 4 into I, and so we have to change this also. So 4 into I is equal to 4 into I. So I will be 1, 2, 3, 4, and hence 4 into I will be 4, 8, 12, 16, and so on. So let's try to make it correct. There's some issue here. Range 1, 11, print 4 into comma I comma. Now after I you have to create is equal to comma 4 into I. Now this is I think correct. Now we forgot comma to put comma here. Now you will see a table of 4 here. 4 into 1 is 4, 4 into 2 is 8, and so on. So this is a concept using which we can create tables of any number ranging from 1 to any number, 1 to any integer. Let's say we want to print table from 1 to 100. So you can do that. So in the next example, or in the next video, I will create a simple console application in which you can provide this number. So instead of 4, you can write any number, and our application will print a simple table for you. Remember, this course is for absolute beginners. So things like this, if you will execute things like small things like printing a table, writing a formula to create triangle using sides of triangle, calculating area of a rectangle. So if you will do small projects like this, so it will give you some confidence. So